What's up, YouTube? Zandar here, going over the last intro pack for the Dragons of Tarkir before it's released next week. This is the Cruel Plots. It's an island and a swamp, so blue and black deck. So we're going to see a lot of death touch, and that sort of thing in here, I bet. As always, these intro packs, they come with 60 cards, one of them on the top being your premium card for the set. For this one, you're looking at a Necromancer Dragon, and we'll take a look at him further here in a second. You get your 2 packs of the current set you're buying. So for this one, it's Dragons of Tarkir, which is nice since it's not released yet. And you always get an instructional booklet of how to play this deck well against other people and other decks, as well as a rules reference card in case you're new to Magic and starting playing. We'll go over our packs here at the end as I knock my camera everywhere. And right now, let's go over the deck and what you get, since most of these cards are still new and a lot of people have not seen them. The first card of the deck is that Necromancer Dragon. It's a 5-mana cost 4/4 flyer. Whenever the dragon deals combat damage to a player, you may pay 2. If you do, put a 2/2 black zombie creature token onto the battlefield, and each opponent puts the top 2 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard. Pretty strong ability if it deals combat damage to a player. So a lot of people are going to get rid of that from the battlefield immediately, but pretty cool dragon, pretty cool abilities on him. Kind of what you expect to see from a black deck. The Profaner of the Dead is a 4-mana cost rare card from the set. It's a 3/3 Naga Wizard. It has Exploit. Whenever the Profaner of the Dead exploits a creature, return to their owner's hand all creatures your opponents control with toughness less than the exploited creature's toughness. If that reads weird, or you don't quite understand that, basically the bigger creature we sacrifice to the exploit, the bigger creatures you get to turn back. So if we turn back something that has a toughness of 6, pretty much anything they have with a toughness of 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, all goes back to their hand. So definitely good removal from the board. The Shambling Goblin's a 1-mana cost 1/1. When he dies, target creature an opponent controls gets -1/-1 until end of turn. Could be pretty solid if they block him with a 2/2 or a 3/3 or something of that sort. Just to prevent the damage, you could officially eliminate a 3/1 or a 2/1 off the board, even if it has flying. So, decent card. Sidisi's Faithful, 1-mana cost 0/4. You can exploit it. If it exploits a creature, return target creature to its owner's hand. This is really nice. This is a 0/4 blocker that you can put onto the field, and basically it's a counter spell to get a creature off the board. Hand of Slimgar is a 2-mana cost 2/1 Death Touch. Basically, any amount of damage this does to a creature is enough to destroy it. That's our first Death Touch card so far in the intro pack, so I wanted to go over that. The Karsai Sadist is a 2-mana cost 1/3, has Exploit. If it exploits a creature, target opponent loses 2 life, and you gain 2 life. Pretty solid card. Hopefully, yep, we'll see 2 of those, maybe 3. Nope, 2. Palace Familiar, great card. I had this during the pre-release. 2-mana cost for a 1/1 flyer. If he dies, you get to draw a card. Solid card. Anytime you ever get to draw is extremely helpful. And it's a solid creature to exploit as well, so anytime you can exploit for an additional card is extremely powerful. Is this a Dutiful Attendant? Is that how you say that? 3-mana cost 1/2. When the attendant dies, return another target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Hello. I will be bringing back my familiar so we can exploit him again. Great card. Good synergy with this deck. Minister of Pain. 3-mana cost uncommon. It's a 2/3. It has Exploit. When the Pain exploits a creature, creatures your opponents control get -1/-1 until end of turn. You could Cobra. It's a 4-mana cost 2/5 with Death Touch. Great card, hard to get rid of. Good survivability and Death Touch. Can't go wrong with that. Volatilous Aven. It's a 4-mana cost 2/3 with flying with Exploit. If he exploits a creature, you draw 2 cards and you lose 2 life. The great thing is you don't have to exploit if you don't want to, but it's nice to get some extra cards in your hand as well. Wandering Tomb Shell. 4 mana cost for a 1/6. It's a zombie turtle. I mean, come on. A blocking zombie turtle. Gurmag Drowner is a 4 mana cost, 2/4 exploit. When the Drowner exploits a creature, look at the top 4 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. I see the synergy now. You know, you're wanting to get these cards in the graveyard so we can have our, what was he called? The Attendant pull him back out of the graveyard so you can get him back onto the field quicker, theoretically.
Channel timed out.
Youthful Scholar's a 4 mana cost, 2/2. When he dies, you draw 2 cards. You see him in a lot of decks. I mean, anytime you get a creature card that has a draw ability on it, especially drawing for 2 cards, you can't go wrong. Rakasha Gravecaller is a 5 mana cost, 3/6 with exploit. When he exploits a creature, put 2/2 black zombie creature tokens onto the battlefield. So basically, if you can find a good creature to exploit, you could potentially draw a card, have a 3/6, a 2/2, and a 2/2 for just 5 mana. Wow, that's a solid card. And that's why we're going to see several of them in the deck. Slumgar Butcher is a 5 mana cost, 3/3 with exploit. If he exploits a creature, target creature gets -3/-3 until end of turn. That's almost enough to kill some dragons. And it can kill a couple dragons. Most dragons would barely survive that. So pretty solid card. -3/-3 is just really good all the way around. 6 mana cost is the Ruthless Death Fang. Is an uncommon. We've seen him a couple of times now. 4/4 flying. Whenever you sacrifice a creature, target opponent sacrifices a creature. And we're going to see multiple of him in this deck as well. As every other deck, we have an Evolving Wilds. This is going to allow us to pull some of the harder mana that we're looking for or not having luck in our hands. The last cards are going to be our sorceries, our instants, and any type of spell. And so let's look over those for this deck. Coat with Venom is a 1 mana cost. Target creature gets +1/+2 and gains Death Touch until end of turn. Wow. I mean, basically what you're looking at here is you can play a 1 mana cost creature that's a 1/1. They could be blocking it, thinking everything's great. You can instant out your Coat with Venom, and technically you could pretty much kill a dragon if it has reach, or kill about anything on the board unexpectedly if they can't counter it. So pretty solid card. I'd like to see a couple more of those in this deck, actually. The Ultimate Price is a 2 mana cost uncommon. Destroy target monocolored creature. Monocolored means 1 color. So Negate is a 2 mana cost. Instant, counter target non-creature spell. So this is something you'd want to use to get rid of that Coat with Venom before it destroyed you. Slumgar Scorn is a 2 mana cost. As an additional cost to cast Slumgar Scorn, you may reveal a dragon card from your hand. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 1. So it'd be pretty easy to block. If you revealed a dragon card or controlled dragon as you cast Slumgar Scorn, counter that spell instead. Counter that spell instead. I don't really understand what that's saying. So if you understand that better, put that in the comments below. I want to know more what that means, I guess. I don't know if I'm reading that wrong, but right now my brain is not making sense of it. Slumgar Monument. We've seen one of these in every deck, so it's not new. 3 mana cost. You can tap them and add an island or a swamp to your mana pool. As always, you can pay 6 mana, being 4 uncolored, 1 swamp, and 1 island. And the monument becomes a 4/4 blue and black dragon artifact creature with flying until end of turn. Grave Purge is a 3 mana cost. Instant. Put any number of target creature cards from your graveyard onto the top of your library and draw a card. Wow, that's really good. That puts a lot more synergy in this. This could be a really fun deck to play. I'll have to try this out later against one of my friends. Mind Rot's a 3 mana cost sorcery. Target player discards 2 cards. It's a sweet artwork, honestly, for the Mind Rot. Solid card. I love anything that makes people discard from their hand. Anything that can frustrate another player. That's why it's fun playing black and blue. It's just the frustration aspect. Reduce in Stature is a 3 mana cost enchant creature. Enchant creature has a base power and toughness of 0/2. And our last card for the intro pack is a Death Wind. It's an X and a swamp. Instant ability. Target creature gets -X/-X until end of turn. Great card late game as it can pretty much remove a dragon. You can remove some stuff early if you feel like it's a threat. Easy card to get out early and late game. So solid card for the intro pack. As always, I like to go over the premium card one last time for the intro pack, which this one was, I tore my box terribly. It was Cruel something. I guess that's all you need to know here. It is Cruel Plots. And the premium dragon for that was the Necromancer Dragon. So, guys, if you've liked seeing these intro packs before they're able to be purchased at the store, and if you've liked seeing the booster packs being opened, make sure you hit subscribe, make sure you hit like so I can keep bringing you new content. I'm going to be working on pre-release series to help everybody do pre-releases and drafts better. There'll be some new booster box opening and as well as fat packs. We're definitely going to have a booster box of Dragons of Tarkir shortly, whenever it's released this month. And we're going to have a fat pack for that as well. And I believe we have some other older sets coming up that'll be just fun to watch. So make sure you hit those buttons. It really helps me out. It makes me know I'm doing something right or wrong. The channel will continue to grow and get better. More custom artwork, everything. I will be professional one day, let me tell you. I might even get a play mat here soon so you don't get to see this lovely wood desk. We'll be skipping over our commons. Our first uncommon is an Enduring Scale Lord, 6 mana cost, 4/4 flying. Whenever one or more +1/+1 counters are placed on another creature you control, you may put a +1/+1 counter on Enduring Scale Lord. Very solid, and of course a Plains and Forest deck that has a bunch of bolster. Draconic Roar is a 2 mana cost. As an addition cost to cast Draconic Roar, you may reveal a dragon card from your hand. Draconic Roar does 3 damage to target creature. If you reveal a dragon card or control a dragon as you cast a Draconic Roar, the Roar deals 3 damage to that creature's controller as well. Dragon Hunter is the first one of these we've seen. Heard a lot of good things about it. It's a 1 mana cost, 2/1, protection from dragons. Dragon Hunter can block dragons as though it had reach. So this is pretty much, for 1 mana, a dragon is no longer a threat, I believe. Yeah, solid card. You can make them stronger if they don't have dragons out with bolster. Great card. What rare or mythic will we get? Shaman of the Forgotten Ways. This is a card in the top 7 right now, so very solid. It's a mythic for the set. You gotta be excited about that. 3 mana cost, 2/3. You can tap them and add 2 mana in any combination of colors to your mana pool. Spend this mana only to cast creature spells. Well, let me tell you, for 2 free mana, I'll be casting plenty of creature spells. He has Formidable for a whopping 11 mana. 9 uncolored and 2 forest. You can tap them. Each player's life total becomes the number of creatures he or she controls. Activate this ability only if the creatures you control have a total power of 8 or greater. Well, I'm telling you right now, if you need 11 mana to cast this, you're going to have 8 or greater on the board. Most likely, if you have 11 mana to cast this and you have 8 or greater on the board, you're going to be keeping your life totals where it's at or increasing it, and then hopefully, actually I read that wrong because it's going to be the number of creatures you control. So most likely it's going to drop you really low as well, probably down to like 5 to 8 health depending on when you use this. But what you're trying to do here is knock your opponent down to 1 or 2 health so that way they die that round. Pretty awesome card. To be excited to see how this gets used and turned into, especially possibly in Commander maybe. So really awesome card to see what happens to it in the future. And we have a Forest and a Tip card. Guys, thanks for watching. I definitely appreciate it. And you guys have a great day. And we got another pack to open. That's the second time I've done that. Woo! That was a close one. I was wanting to pocket this Gnar set. And you guys never know anything about it. Okay. First uncommon. Oh, zombie token. I ruined the surprise again. Echoes of the Kin Tree. 2 mana cost enchantment. Pay 3 mana, 2 uncolored, and 1 plains to bolster 1. Not too bad. And it's a free bolster ability. Well, not free, but you can bolster anytime you want if your cards don't have it. The Enoch Survivalist is a 2 mana cost, 2/1. He's a megamorph of 2 mana, being 1 uncolored and 1 forest. If he's turned face up, destroy target artifact or enchantment an opponent controls. Pretty solid megamorph ability whenever he comes up. Self-Inflicted Wound is a 2 mana cost sorcery. Target opponent sacrifices a green or white creature. If that player does, he or she loses 2 life. Great sideboard card. Unfortunately, you really can't leave this in your deck at all times, just due to you don't know what colors you'll be playing against. All right. Let's channel some luck and see what we get. Avatar of the Resolute. This is not even in the top 15, so it's a pretty plain Jane rare for the set. It's a 2 mana cost, 3/2, has reach and trample. Avatar of the Resolute enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each other creature you control with a +1/+1 counter. All right, now I'll tell you what. This thing might not be worth the money per se, but this is great in a Dromka deck. This is great in a bolster deck. So I think it's a pretty solid card. It'll definitely be fun to play with as Dragon stays out. So once again, guys, thanks for watching. Sorry for almost missing that pack, and I hope you guys have a great day or weekend.